From my boy Eddie Brock / Venom on a budget. My brother suggested that I do Eddie Brock, aka Venom, as a budget deck tech, so here I am doing my take on him. Guys, I really like this deck. This one is so fun. When Eddie Brock enters the battlefield, he grabs a creature from your graveyard that's a 1-drop and puts it onto the battlefield. I have a card that goes really well with this. I call it Spore Frog. It is in the deck, obviously, but having something like this to be able to recur is also just great. That's protection, baby. I don't focus too much on the front side because the back side is where all the meat is, just like your mom. So let's get right to the other side of Venom and see what he's got. So Venom's backside is where it's at, guys. We got the transform side, and he's a 6-mana Jund, 5/5 with Menace, Trample, and Haste. Yes, whenever he attacks, you sacrifice another creature. If you do, you draw X cards and can put a permanent value with mana value X or less onto the battlefield, where X is the mana value of the creature that you sacrifice. I need you guys to note this real quick. That says any permanent. That doesn't say non-lands. That doesn't say creatures. You can put anything. You can put enchantments, auras, equipments, literally battles. If you run battles, planeswalkers. This is a really good ability for Venom. So let's take advantage of using this. But also, we do like to poop out creatures because that's what we like to do, baby. My game plan with Venom is to actually use a bunch of the warp cards from Edge of Eternities, guys. Having Venom be warp on crack is really fun because now we can cast the cards for the warp cost, which is, relatively cheaper than the actual mana value of the card. So use a lot of warp costs around 2 to 3 mana, and then the actual mana value of the cards can be upwards from 6 to 9 mana. It could be, ideally, we're going to use the warp cost and then attack with Venom, sacrifice them. We'll get the reaping benefits of having, only having to pay 3 mana. Nothing too crazy, but they have the warp cost, and we're going to take advantage of using those abilities. Speaking of warp, we have Tanuk, great commander, by the way, but having him in his deck, he's going to make it so we can actually just warp everything for 3. So all of our really expensive cards, we're going to be able to warp for way less of the price, and then we can sacrificing them and drawing a crap ton of cards. Another notable card is Heragast. It gives a merge, so that's another alternative cost we can use for creatures where we sacrifice a creature and the merge cost is reduced by that. His ability is really good, and it's going to play really well with the deck, because if we don't have Tanuk out, at least we have Heragast out. Of course, here we have a few sacrifice benefits, a few things that, make people lose life. We also have Pitiless Plunderer, really good for getting those treasure tokens. We're going to be reaping benefits from getting rid of our own creatures. Not only are we drawing cards, but we want to make mana too. Doors of Durin is really cool. We get the cheat stuff out, which is really fun, and on top of that, we're cheating stuff with our commander out, so having the ability to also scry will help us when we do our attack. We can do Doors of Durin trigger first, then we can do our commander's ability after that. So whatever creature we get from Doors of Durin to sacrifice to Venom's ability, because his trigger will happen after, depending on when we time it. Slap the Whisper Still Cloak in there just so we can have Venom be unblockable. I thought Sunbird's Invocation's good. I like this card a lot when you can cheat it out. And another really good card in this deck that I think could be also considered a win con depending on how you use it, Classification. Because Venom's going to attack, you're going to sacrifice something for, 7 or 8 mana, then you can draw 8 cards. If Classification's in there, you put that into play, you can attach it to Venom. Now he's a 25/25 and hitting someone with Trample, most likely going to die. And then I also included an infinite combo that I'm going to put up right here, just so we have something else to close out the game, because we're running Jund, so if we can't do combat damage, then we have this to win as well. Another 2 good cards I want to mention, Sir Conrad, because yes, and he also helped close out the game. And then I also put Galta, baby! Galta! Fat Dinosaur, baby! Oh man, I love Galta so much. I hope you guys like this Venom deck tech, because guys, I think he's so fun. I got the deck list going into the comments below. Thank you again, my brother, for suggesting that I do Venom. I'm going to do the Ghost of Tsushima Secret Lair once the cards are fully revealed. On top of that, if you guys haven't checked out my new video, I made a deck for Guess Who and Magic the Gathering. Guess that's right, we made a deck that literally has us play Guess Who, some sort of variation of it where putting face down creatures onto the battlefield and switching them out. I put the deck tech on my YouTube as well as the Moxfield link if you're interested, and I kept that one under $50. Have a good rest of your evening.